Good rising, brethren. This is Big Judah coming to you guys in California. Before I begin, give all praise to the Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is the Holy Spirit? Acknowledge Yahweh Shai. I pray that the Most High blesses this lesson this evening. Gives more knowledge and understanding of the events of the past in order to understand the events that are currently happening on the earth. So we get a much better understanding of the things that are soon to come on the earth. This is a little message to the other nations. How are you loving your blessings right now? You guys have always talked about how blessed you are. How if you believe in Jesus Christ, you're going to be blessed. How Jesus Christ only wants you to have good things. And that you guys are so blessed. You guys have taken the place of the Israelites. So you talk about how blessed you are. Well, if you're so blessed, then why are these horrible things happening to you? Why is everything crumbling all around you? We're going to take a look at some of the events that are going on around you, but we're going to let you know that you aren't the chosen people. Your blessings comes with an expiration date. And you're going to have to pay all of it back. And as you can see right now, do you really think things are going to get better very soon? See, many are holding out hope that with this vaccine, things are going to return back to normal. And we've been telling you those days, those normal days that you used to have are not coming back. I'm sitting here looking at a lot of these commercials, and you can just see how, or these old shows where you see people out and about doing things, and and you realize that those things are not coming back. I'm watching some of these shows where they're refurbishing houses and they're, trying to make it their dream house to, for the foreseeable future. And you're like, that's never going to happen again. But see, these guys have always thought about themselves. That's all they think about. And the Most High is using that against them. They don't think about others. It's not in them to think about others. So their actions are just destroying their society more and more as we have every holiday. They can't stay home. They can't, just stay home and relax and not go anywhere. Do it for the team. Take one for the team. They can't do that. So then as they continue, to ignore, what things would actually help their society, you just watch them and say, screw it. I'm going to do whatever I want to do. That's been how they've been the whole time. See, every holiday they go out. And it's funny because like the news outlets, they can't say anything about, the bad behavior, the bad decisions. It's always, you have a holiday. People tell them, don't go places, don't do this. They're like, screw it, we're going to do whatever the hell we want to do. They do that. 2 weeks later, all of a sudden the numbers are going through the roof for the plague. And the news outlets are like, well, we don't know. Could this possibly be because of this holiday? Well, we don't know. You can't say for sure. Could it be because of these bad decisions? But they're like, well, but we understand because we're still suffering from, COVID fatigue. We can't just stay home. We can't follow directions. But supposedly these people are super smart, can't follow basic, simple directions. But just shows you how they need us, how their society has been, supported by us this entire time. Now you see why. Because they're not going to do it. They weren't going to do the work. They're not going to do any of the things that are, necessary to actually, sustain a great society. They need everyone else to do everything for them, to do all the hard lifting, all the hard work. That's what we've been doing this entire time. And now that we're not doing that anymore, you can see that they can't do that for themselves. You think they could have built a great country on their own? Hell no. They can't. They can't even stay home. How hard is it to stay home? Like if we really had, a lot of people are acting like this isn't real. But the thing is this: if you really have a hard situation and you have to actually sacrifice, could they do it? Most High is showing you that they can't. But see, they still talking about how blessed they are. And how, they're going to, they've been blessed and God bless America. And this is the best democracy and this is the best country. Yeah, because we ran everything for you. We did everything for you. Now you have the opportunity to do it for yourself and you can't do it. So I wanted to, we're going to take a look at this video here, right here, so we can talk about these great blessings that God gave you. Well, if God loves you guys so much, why is he destroying everything that you hold dear? Because our power doesn't love you. Our power doesn't love your feast days. Our power doesn't love the worship that you give to another. And that's why he's destroying everything that you hold dear. You guys are always talking about, well, the kids got to go back to school. We need our economy. Everything's about money in your economy. Most High is showing you he doesn't care about your economy either. He's going to destroy that too. Anything that you think is important, he's destroying. Welcome to the curses. Welcome to the time of no matter what you do, nothing works out for you. That's what we've been living through, and no one has cared the whole time. That every time we try to do something, it never worked out. You've been living in the blessings for this whole time, where everything you tried to do, even when you didn't do it well, still worked out for you. No more. So let's take a quick look at some of the stuff here from this video. He's going to talk about some of the things that are going on. So like I said, if you're so blessed, why are these things happening?
Americans are expected to lose their homes by the first month of next year.
Let's go all the way to the start.
Millions of Americans are expected to lose their homes by the first month of next year. We have hundreds of thousands.
And I just heard, brother sent me an article. It was 6 million people are going to be evicted at the start of the year here in January. 6 million. But you guys are blessed though, huh?
Lined up in food banks across the country. And this is going to be worse than the Great Depression that your grandparents and great-grandparents lived through. Millions of Americans are expected to face eviction by the end of this year, adding to the suffering that was inflicted during this ongoing financial crisis. 5.8 million adults say that they are likely or very likely to face eviction or foreclosure in the next 2 months, according to a survey that was completed by the Census Bureau. That accounts for a third of the 17.8 million households that are behind on rent and mortgage payments. Almost 20 million households across the United States of America behind on their rent and behind on their mortgage payments. Imagine the crisis that is to come with the children that will be evicted. They'll be forced to uproot their lives to move in with family somewhere else.
And I love how they always talk about the children, how it's going to be so hard on the children. Have you cared about the Most High's children? You guys have not cared about our little ones at all. In fact, you sold them off. You destroyed families. You used them as gator bait. You raped them. But all of a sudden, we're supposed to feel sorry for your children when you've cared nothing about ours. When ours get shot down in the streets, you always make excuses. Most High has been keeping track of all the things you've done to our children. Emmett Till getting beat down, getting killed. You guys make excuses. So you always try to do that. Oh, well, there's all these houses are going to be evicted. What about the children? What about Black Wall Street? When you guys were bombing our cities, killing children. You didn't care. But we're supposed to actually feel some sort of way for your children. But I thought the Most High loved all the children. I thought all the children were going to get raptured away, just like left behind. The Most High allowed our children to go through hell. Why would He not let your children do the same? Let's continue.
Many of them, hundreds of thousands of them, will be forced to move across the country back in with family, maybe grandparents in different states of the country. This is the type of event that leaves a lasting imprint on those affected. Roughly half of all households not current on their rent or mortgage payments in Arkansas, Florida, and Nevada warn that there is a strong chance of eviction by January. This equates to more than 750,000 homes just in those states. Food banks across the United States of America are filling up. The food bank organizations and the government are warning that it's not like previous years where you had a very small subset of individuals or groups, demographics that needed help, especially during the holiday season. Now it's teachers and nurses, construction workers, people who normally would be giving their extra cans of food at the grocery store line to go into the food bank donation box. They are the ones who need help this year. And they're warning, these organizations are warning that help is not coming. Americans are lining up in historic numbers at food banks across the country as the financial crisis exacerbates levels of food insecurity for millions of people. As the Thanksgiving holiday draws closer, news reports from states around the United
Steve and Dave use eToro to trade cryptocurrencies. Steve does extensive research in order to find the next Bitcoin. Dave...
United States of America show that more Americans face food insecurity now than any time in the past 60 years. If it wasn't for this place, one person says, we wouldn't know where we would get our food. That's at a food bank in New Jersey. As we talked yesterday, a food report from Rhode Island showed that 1 in 4 individuals there can't put food on their table. And we're forced into this choice now where it used to be and. You used to be able to pay your power bill and your mortgage and your food, and maybe you went without your luxuries like going to the movies or the restaurants or getting a new car. Now, millions of Americans are faced into the or, and it's either this or that. They can pay their rent, not their food. Keep their lights on, not pay their water bill. They can pay their food, go behind on their mortgage. Then they face eviction. People are choosing right now, and you're not seeing an explosion right now because individuals say, well, you know what? The CDC has this moratorium on not allowing individuals to be evicted or foreclosed on, and they're taking advantage of this. And so they're skipping their mortgage, they're skipping their rent, and they're choosing the or to put food on their table for their families. If it wasn't for that moratorium, and that's exactly why the U.S. government allowed this moratorium to take place, you would see an explosion of desperation. You would see individuals across the country rioting, protesting, and demanding that the government assist them for all of the millions and millions of tax dollars that they have paid into the system. Where are those millions, they would ask? Where is all of the money that they paid into the system when they need it? In San Jose, California, the program manager at City Team, that's a local charity, told the news station KTVU2 that the demand for food assistance had more than tripled over the course of 2020. You see, it was getting worse. We were facing a financial crisis that we've talked about here for time, just untold, just years, because you could see the writing on the wall. You could see the events taking place that were leading us here. You saw the separation from the rich to the poor, the separation from those that had, from those that did not have, and it just kept getting worse and worse. So we saw those signs. You did, I did. But now, the people who were told that everything was going to be okay, there was always going to be food on the shelf, there's always going to be assistance programs to help you out when you need it most, they are lost. They're facing despair, and they're beginning to get angry.
And that's it. These people are beginning to get angry because they're used to the blessings only. They're not used to the curses. As we were going through our, destruction and having our rights taken away, no one cared. Now the Most High is doing this to you. And people are doing what? Getting angry, getting upset. And it's going to get worse. This is just the beginning. The Most High is going to make you guys feel it, make the other nations feel it. And our people who have been joined hand in hand, he's going to make you guys feel it. We've been on top for a long time. And those times are now coming to an end.
Food bank officials in Dallas, Texas have noticed a staggering increase in the demand for food assistance. We've seen the reports from individuals who have their neighbors. We've had people reach out to us through email and comments on this channel who their neighbors are mad at them when they see them bring large cartloads of food home from Sam's Club or Walmart. Why do you get to buy 50 pounds of rice? Why do you get to buy that frozen chicken? I don't get to. And that's the anger that's going to cause violence in the months to come. If the government does not do something about this, and the answer isn't pretty, the answer is going to.
For more than 85 years, D.A. Davidson has strived to build relationships and trust with every client.
To end in more control measures, the answer is going to end in a worsening state for the United States dollar and the U.S. government, a generally worsening state for you and your family. But if the government does nothing, you are going to have neighbors attacking neighbors because John Doe number one was able to afford 50 pounds of rice while his neighbor wasn't. We're serving 70% more people. 40% of the people who are coming have never, ever looked for food assistance before. You see, you go there and they'll ask you, could you please fill out this small survey before you get your, staple foods, before you get your rice or your canned chicken, whatever it might be. Could you fill out this survey? Have you ever used food assistance programs? Have you ever needed help with housing? Do you have a stable job? Things like that. The people there are saying that they have never asked for assistance before. They have never been forced into this position before, and now they are.
So like I said, these times are different. As much as people want to make it seem as if we're going to be going back to normal, how is that even possible? This is just the beginning. You're talking about 20 million people losing their unemployment benefits next month. He was talking about people getting angry because that's how these people are. Those are their emotions. Instead of coming together and working together, they get angry because you got something that they don't. How do you think we've been feeling for these last few hundred years when you guys are going on vacations, buying nice cars, buying nice houses, buying your vacation homes, while we've been stuck at the bottom the entire time? And you've never cared. I said us playing sports or, and you guys getting the MVPs when our people have been doing all the work. Us watching all these sports teams, and when people were able to buy all these sports teams, white people buy these sports teams for very, very cheap. And no one ever asked why, how does this work out? That these certain families get these sports teams for super cheap and just hand them down from generation to generation. There are countless examples of how things have been unfair. And we've had to just deal with it. And now the other nations are getting exposed and they're getting forced to have to deal with things, and they don't like it.
It really is your neighbors and your family members, and they might not be telling you. You might ask them, and they might say, no, listen, I'm okay. We're all right. We're doing okay. Things are tight. But then they end up in the food bank lines across the country. We know that people need food or they would not be in line, said Tricia Cunningham. That's the CEO of the food bank. We want to make sure that anyone who needs food has access to it. The Department of Agriculture moved last month to include a letter from President Trump in federal food aid boxes distributed to millions nationwide, where they say that they are sending nutritious food from farmers to families that need it the most. But it's getting worse. And you see the signs that it is, and so do I. Unemployment claims are rising again. Weekly job loss claims increased heavily for the second week in a row. You see, it's coming back in another cycle. You had assistance programs. You had the SBA, the government loans, PPP loans. You had them give the money to the companies so that they could keep their employees on payroll in the hopes that what would normally be a great winter gift season where people would be going to the restaurants, people would be purchasing their gifts for others, people would be, buying and buying and buying to give back into the economy. The small businesses hoped that they could keep those employees on throughout that season. And then we're in the late week of November here, and you have these businesses saying, I'm sorry, things didn't get better, and I have to let you go. And that's happening to tens of millions of people.
Yes, right now. And that's all part of the holidays. Most High is not with these holidays. Things would always work out for you guys before. The economy would always snap back. Things would always snap back. Now, they're just going to snap. That's all it's going to be. Because these are the times that we're in. You guys should be upset. You Gentiles should be upset with your pastors, your priests, and your leaders. They have not told you the truth. They have not told you about the curses and the blessings. They only push the blessings, blessings, blessings. A revival's coming. There's going to be a revival of Christianity and things are going to get better. No, it's not. Go ahead and get those pictures out for the last few years. When they're showing you guys how it was 5 years ago, today, you give you all those, definitely, you know what, you get Facebook and they give you the how things were last year on this day. And you guys have your pretty pictures of how your family was all together and how beautiful it was this year, 4 years, 5 years, 7 years ago. Those days are not coming back. So as much as they try to tell you, oh, you know, this thing's taken, stay at home so that you can enjoy the many more that are to come. They're not coming back. You think the Most High Power cares about your things killing? You think he wants to celebrate you destroying his people, stealing his land, raping his women and children? Is that what you guys think? Of course not. He let you do that for a time. And now everything's coming back. So enjoy looking at those old pictures, the old videos. Because like I said, that's not coming back.
Across the country. This is even with the corrupt and obvious attempt to manipulate the numbers. Weekly jobless claims increased 778,000. You see, they started trying to manipulate those numbers for seasonal adjustment. And they looked and said, okay, well, you know, over the course of the last 10 years, this is how many people usually lose their job at this time of the year. Let's not count those. Let's just count whatever's over that normal amount. That is that's a lie. It's a shadow deception of the real numbers. But even with that deception, we're at a dangerous increase. 20.5 million. That's how many people received some form of government unemployment benefit last week. A recent report from Century Foundation showed that the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program.
If you manage a team, you have to try Monday.com. Monday.com is a platform to track everything your team is working.
Had 12 million people set to lose their benefits in December. There are more, but just government-based unemployment, and not a combination of state-based and government-based unemployment. There are more people across the country about to lose their benefits or who can't get it, and those individuals who maybe don't go to the food line, can't wait 12 hours for a bag of rice. Those individuals will be mad at their neighbors and mad at you for having food. This is not just a United States problem. This is a problem all across the world. The UK announced Wednesday that it is in the worst economic plunge that has not been seen like this for the past 300 years, and at its largest peacetime borrowing ever. That should convince you right now that we are in a position in this world right now that we have never been in before in our living generations, and you have to do something to put your family at an advantageous position for what is coming. I'm not telling you to go buy gold and silver. I'm not telling you to get into stocks. I'm not telling you to buy crypto. What I'm telling you to do is buy rice and chicken for your family. That is what's going to help you. The British economy is forecast to contract by 11.3%. That's according to the Office for Budget Responsibility, with the hopes that it will increase in 2022 and beyond. We are going to see this suffering for years to come. That's 2 or more years of this crisis. It means that you will see desperation. You're going to see riots. You're going to see violence. You're going to see hunger on the streets of your country unlike anything that you have ever seen before. It's not expected to return to pre-financial crisis levels until the fourth quarter of 2022. And that's if nothing worse happens. That's if there's any semblance of...
So, fourth quarter of 2022, things are supposed to hopefully somewhat improve. What do you think is the world's gonna be like between now and the end of 2022? With people like this who can't even, they can't sacrifice anything right now. They're barely even being inconvenienced, and they can't even do that. So they can't sacrifice anything, but they're gonna be able to sacrifice for the next 2 years. You really believe that? Of course not. It's not in their spirit. They're not down with delayed gratification. They want their stuff and they want it now. And if someone else has something they don't have, it's unfair. So delayed gratification, yeah, not these people. Society will be upside down way before 2022. But see, that's what they do. They talk about like they're going to be able to. They're always going to be around, and they're always going to be in charge. And trust me, many more bad things are going to happen before 2022.
Recovery. That's if the confidence in the markets, the confidence in the job place, the confidence in a person's ability to go to the store and buy food is not broken. Because once that is broken, it will never, ever return, or it's going to take decades of manipulation through the media, just like it took decades after the Great Depression for people to say, you know what, I can go out and I can spend that food. Before then, they were spending food only on themselves. And
now, like you said, how long it took for them to recover from the Great Depression. So you guys got to recover from all that before, because it still wasn't our time to be reborn. So you still had your little bit of time left. You still had your 100 years to get it all together again and go for it one more time. You still think you got that time again. Not going to happen. You ain't going to get decades to kind of figure it out and put us back at the bottom. That's not going to happen. Signs all over the place that your run is done. But you guys still think you're blessed? You still think you're getting the blessings now? That's what happens when you don't read your Bible. That's what happens when you don't read scriptures in context.
And that's what we're seeing right now. Don't buy crypto. Don't buy stocks. Don't buy anything that won't help you and your family as this gets worse. Please, guys, watch what is happening with open eyes. Understand that no matter what they paint over the picture, it's worse for tens of millions of people across the world today than it was just a few weeks ago. And it's only going to get worse from here. But it's not despair. Don't be afraid of it. Know that you have a position right now that while they're telling...
No, yeah, you should be pretty scared by now. You other nations should definitely be afraid right now. You've been able to write the story this whole time. So you've been able to manipulate our scriptures and make it seem as if you guys had it under control and you have understanding. All the while, you've left out the most important aspects and important people of the Bible, the Most High's chosen people. They are the time clocks. Their time of being in the curses is done, and now your time to go to the curses is now. You guys have always been able to say, well, we've been able to come up and we've always been able to fix everything. We've always come back. Yes, because you were in your blessings. Blessings are gone. Curses are here. There is no do-over. If the Most High is calling, there's definitely going to be Gentiles that are going to cleave to the Most High's chosen people. But even at your cleaving doesn't mean you're going to be on top again. But cleave to the Most High's chosen people. The Most High, like I said, the Most High loves you enough to call you. Just like he loves us enough to call us. This, like I said, so it'll be a beautiful thing to actually be with the Most High's chosen, be with the Most High and his people in a beautiful society. Be in a society where, the people will actually have a great time. They will not be mourning anymore. The animals, the land will be actually, having a great time and not mourning anymore. A time to praise the Father, praise the Mother. Beautiful times are ahead for the ones the Most High has called, Jews and Gentiles alike. But in the order that the Most High has set up. All praise is to the Most High, Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is the Holy Spirit? Acknowledge Yahweh Shai. Shalom.